How's it going? This is Sherrod. I'm the managing member at Sherrod Sports Visas, where we specialize almost exclusively in immigration for the world's best athletes, coaches, and business executives looking to come to the United States. And what this video is about is kind of introducing you to sports-related immigration and answering the most commonly heard questions we have from our clients. And so the first one is, I already addressed, why us? It's because we do so many sports-related immigration petitions that we are familiar with how the process goes. Our success rate is very high. USCIS knows when they see one of our petitions, and we're very strong when it comes to advocating for our clients. And it's respected nationwide as we are listed in AILA for their practice treaty for sports-related immigration, and we're regularly asked to speak at the foremost conferences in sports-related business. The next question is, what visa do I need? And that's a great place to start. So it depends what your role is. If you're an athlete, you're good to do a P1 or an O1 visa. If you're a coach, you might need the O1 or then do a P1S or O2 visa as essential support staff. Let me talk about it. So you're an athlete. The most common visa category for athletes is the P1 visa. On this visa, you're supposed to come and compete in the United States. You're not really supposed to be doing any coaching, training, or things like that, but you can get sponsorships to do certain activations and seminars here and there, but it shouldn't be the bulk of what you do. It should be competing. The P1 is nice because it's a little bit easier to get than the O1A visa, and that's what we'll get to next. The O1A visa is appropriate if you're going to be doing things other than competing. So for example, if you're coming to coach, or if you're coming to produce content, or sometimes if you're in a sport where there isn't a lot of competitions that have a high level of recognition, and so it'd be tough to get an itinerary together for a P1, then the O1A visa would be more appropriate for you. Now, the O1A visa is more expensive, but there's a lot more you can do with it. And for example, we do the O1A visa for high-level boxing champions such as Tyson Fury and Canelo Alvarez. They're on that type of visa because they do things other than just boxing. They do movies, they do clothing lines, they open restaurants. All of that is something that we fit very well into the O1A category. It is a higher level of eligibility to achieve, but we have a lot of success with it, so we can be honest with our clients to say if they're a good candidate for the O1 or if they're better off trying to do the P1A visa. Next is the visa solutions for everyone else, whether it be coaches, photographers, cheerleaders, trainers, managers, and sports executives. So there's two ways we go about this. The most appropriate standalone visa for a coach is a O1A visa. P1A visas are not available for coaches unless they're associated with a major league team, such as the NFL, NBA, or something like that. So the O1A does have a high level of eligibility, as we said, for athletes, but that's the visa that allows coaches to come and set up their own gym or sports executives to come and start up their own sports leagues. And from there, the other options are if you have an athlete that is on a P1 or an O1 visa, you can get an essential support staff visa to come in on the principal's athlete's visa. And if it's a P1, you'll get a P1S. And if that athlete has an O1 visa, you would be eligible for an O2 visa as a person that supports that staff. And both of these categories come with options to have family members under the P4 category if you're on a P1 visa, or the O3 visa category if the principal athlete's on an O1 visa. The next question that's commonly asked is, what's the process? How do I actually get the visa? Well, this kind of depends on where you are when you apply. If you're in the United States on a visa already, you can apply for a P1 or an O1 visa, and you're fine to wait in the United States while that's being adjudicated. So if you come in on a visitor visa and you apply for a P1, even if it expires, you're not technically out of status and you can stay in the United States while it's being adjudicated. Now, if it starts getting to trudge on along, maybe further than 6 months, that's something we should talk about. But in general, you're fine to stay in the United States, even on an expired visa, as long as you file your petition before the current visa expires. The next way to do it is if you're outside the United States, you'll need to consular process for your visa. So once your visa is approved, you would go to a consulate anywhere outside of the United States. Very important. You cannot do this in the United States. And you would go to a consulate to have an interview to get your visa. Now, there are opportunities in certain countries to where you can get a waiver where you don't have to do an interview. You just send your passport and your documents to the consulate and they mail it back with the visa attached to that passport. But there's a specific eligibility requirements for that process. So until you're alerted that you're eligible, you should assume that you're going to have to do an interview for your visa somewhere outside the United States. The next question people want to ask is, well, how long does it take? Now, this depends. There's two ways to do the process. One is regular processing, which costs $460, and these are government fees. And the typical response time is 3 to 4 months to hear back from USCIS. Sometimes it's sooner, sometimes it's longer, but in general, we expect responses within 3 to 4 months on regular processing, which is $460 filing fees. Now, there's an option to speed that up with premium processing. Now, the government charges another $2,500 for this service. That's not us, that's the government fee. And what it does is gets you responses, not approvals necessarily, within 15 calendar days. So within 15 days, USCIS is required to either approve the visa, ask for more information, or deny the visa within those 15 days. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that up front. You can file a regular processing visa and then later add the premium processing if you wish, or you can file it all at once. And remember, regular processing, we expect to hear back from the USCIS in 3 to 4 months in the P&O visa categories. If you're using premium processing, you get responses within 15 calendar days. And if people are already in the United States, sometimes we just tell them to just go ahead and do regular processing so they can save that money. And it just kind of depends on your preference. But the filing fees cost $460 for regular processing and an additional $2,500 for premium processing. Now, the next question that we have is, what does it look like to get started with us? Well, to get started, we always have our prospective candidates fill out an intake sheet. And you'll find a button below this video with that intake sheet. And when you go to that portal, you'll see various languages that you can fill that in. It's very important for you to fill that in with as much information as you can, because that's what we use to give you feedback on your eligibility. Because we like to be honest with people, and it's because we see so many visas to say, hey, you're great for the O1 category, you're great for the P1 category, or we might say, hey, you're not a good fit for either one. If you're willing to try, we can go ahead and try, and we give you the best chance. But we always like to be honest with our clients, and it helps us be honest when that intake sheet is filled out correctly. From there, you'll get an email confirming your eligibility and also options on pricing. The pricing, we are fully transparent, and it's also available on a button below this video to see what our prices are in all the visa categories that we service, well, most of them. And then from there, if you say everything is ready to go, we go ahead and send an engagement letter and an invoice. And once that's satisfied, you'll get your instructions on what we need to do. Now, our team, the way we like to work is we already start doing research on the internet from your intake sheet. So a lot of the documents we need we're already find on the internet, and we start our drafting process. And during our drafting process, if we find that certain categories need more information, we'll send you a note through our My Case portal that will describe the documents that we need to help make your case stronger. And these, we like to get our cases out the door, so you can expect barely to hear from us every 3 days or so if something's needed. If you do not hear anything from us, that means that your case is proceeding as planned, and we don't need any further information from you to get it out the door. So we work really quickly, but it's just sometimes when we need more information, we have to wait on clients to get that information to us. But it's a very transparent and communicative process where you'll be hearing from us if we need anything. But if you don't hear anything from us, that means everything is going according to plan. And then once the case is ready to be sent out, you'll be sent an invoice for the filing fees, and it'll be $460 if you chose regular processing. And then it'll be usually $2,500 more if you choose to go with premium processing. And that's in most visa categories. It's a little bit different for family members. And then the next question is, okay, what does it look like when I'm approved? So if you're in the United States and you're approved, there's nothing further to do. You're fine to stay in your new status, and you can take your documents and go to the Social Security office and get your Social Security number. You can get driver's license and things like that. We do have services to help with that, but that's something that's very personal to the client and different in every state. So a lot of times, clients just take their documentation and we send instructions on the best course of action to get that done and do it themselves. But we do have services to help with post-approval work. Now, if you're overseas, you have a choice to make. You can either use our online instructions to do your own consular processing, picking a consulate and setting up your interview, or you can hire us to do your consular processing for you, where we can help find a consulate that makes sense for the date that you need to get in the United States. We can run expedites. We can try to do interview waivers. There's a lot of things that we can do with consular processing. And be also sure to check out our pricing to make sure that we are within your budget. And from there, just fill out a client intake sheet, and then we'll have somebody getting to you the next business day to speak on your eligibility with an honest assessment and provide you with pricing options. From there, once you confirm your pricing options, you'll get an engagement letter and an invoice. And once that's taken care of, you'll get instruction sheet on what we need for the drafting process. And mind you, during that drafting process, we'll be doing our own research. And if we'll be reaching out for more information as we come into situations where a little bit more information would be helpful to make you a stronger candidate to USCIS. And then you'll be getting updates throughout the adjudication process to say if there's been any changes every month in your case. And when you're approved, we can move on to doing consular processing, to where you can hire us to do your consular processing or follow our instructions to set up your own interview date. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us.